Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Let's Connect. Today on the podcast, I'm going to be speaking about this practice of going inward. What does it mean to go inward, and why is it important, and how do we do it? If you've ever been to a yoga class or a meditation class, you most likely have heard the instructors say, close your eyes and go inward. And for many of us, this can be a very, very challenging practice. So I want to speak about it today in the context of what's going on in our world at hand. I've been watching the news. I've been watching, in particular, some Netflix documentaries. One called The Social Dilemma comes to mind. Have you seen this yet? It's a really, really eye-opening documentary about what's going on in our world these days when it comes to social media. The documentary interviews creators or former creators from Facebook and Instagram and all of these apps that we enjoy on our phones, and creators that have left their work as developers and creators because they didn't believe in where the technology was going. And they reveal a lot about what's happening right now in the world when it comes to social media and how that's influencing us as a society. Ultimately, some of them are arguing that it could actually move us into a state of civil war. I don't want to get too deep into the documentary because I want to encourage you to go watch it and discover for yourself some of these implications. But for me, as I was watching this, I got thinking about how manipulated we all have become, myself included, by all of that targeted advertising that's taking place. You know, companies spend millions of dollars target advertising us based on our likes, our beliefs, all the data that's been collected by our social media accounts. And they're retargeting us and telling us what we should buy, what we should think, what we should believe. And it becomes really, really hard to discern, what is real and what is not real. And what do I believe versus, what's going on in the world. And in some ways, it's interesting because it's becoming this state of the world is literally what we're thinking about and where we're focusing our attention. For example, if you're, on the left side, a political party on the left side or the right side, there's a very good chance that based on just those likes or dislikes, you're going to be given news stories, you're going to be given advertisements that are totally catering to your likes and beliefs. And, at first this seems really convenient. Of course, I want to be served what I want, when I want, as quick as I want. That's like human nature, isn't it? Or at least conditioned human nature. But the implications become that we actually don't get the full picture anymore. And as a result, we are being brought down a rabbit hole that really is manipulative and is really limiting us from being free to make our own decisions ultimately. So this is an interesting time in the world right now where we are so divided in so many ways because, based on what we're picking up on from the news that's being fed to us, based on our beliefs and interests, we're very divided. Some people believe completely in this political platform, others believe in this political platform, and all of a sudden we see them clashing. It doesn't help, especially in America right now, having a president that is completely dividing the country with all of these outrageous statements that he's making. And I'm just praying right now that that country will make the best decision possible when it comes to Election Day. I'm recording this right now prior to the election in November 2020. So I'm just setting this up because as I be with all that's going on in the world right now and all of the outside noise and pressure and manipulation that's taking place, part of me wants to just completely shut down my social media accounts and just shut down the whole online world. Like, I just want to go live on retreat on a deserted island somewhere where there's no distractions and manipulation. It'd be a very interesting experiment. But I also know that I'm here in the world right now, and we all are here in this particular life path to grow and evolve and change. And if we just run from these problems, that's not going to make any difference either. There's a reason why this is all happening, I believe at least. And I think part of it is, at least one perspective is, it's teaching us to slow down, to go inward, to connect to what is real. And what is real? I mean, what a question is that? What is real? How do we know anymore what is real? I don't think it's going to be long before we have to start tuning inwards to get our real news and to get our real truth, because everything is just so packaged and manipulated now. I even find myself doing it, to be honest, when I post things on social media, really wanting them to appear a certain way so that they meet that standard that we've set as a society, that everything needs to look and feel a certain way and everything is great going on. It's so interesting that we've been led down this rabbit hole and we're trying to appear like everything's great, but in fact, we don't have it all figured out. And that's when it gets kind of scary, is that, these advertisers play on our limiting beliefs, and they play on, our pain points, so to speak. And a lot of times not for good, for instead capital gain and selfishness. And, that's at least what I think. So going inward is crucial. And when I say go inward, there's a few steps that I want to offer you today to consider in a practice of going inward. And the first step in my process, at least, of going inward is to slow down. I think when we're in a rush, this really contributes to us being victim to the outside world demands and pressures and how we should be. Slowing down is crucial right now, and it's so countercultural to slow down because we've been told that we need to be busier so that we can get somewhere and make more money and achieve that status and that gold star, But to slow down, really, just to take a breath even, to slow down so that you can create some space in your life to decide where you want to focus your attention. This is the first step, in my opinion, to going inward. So slow down, catch yourself when you're rushing, make a conscious decision. I'm going to take a moment and slow down. The second step is to cultivate stillness. This is also a very, very challenging thing right now, is to find your still point, to find that slowing down stillness. And when I say to be still, I think about the mind slowing down and finding that stillness or that focus. I think about stillness as the body not needing to rush everywhere, to actually just be still. And have you noticed that when you slow down and you get still, all of a sudden your shoulders relax, and all of a sudden your breath starts increasing or expanding, or you actually become aware of it. Have you noticed that your heart rate slows down? We move into this place of the parasympathetic in our nervous system where we don't feel this frantic energy. And this is a real practice. But when you start even from that point of just finding a few moments in your day to consciously slow down, the effects are incredible. As you slow down and you go inward and you be still and you become attuned to what's going on in your body as a result, all of a sudden you find yourself in this place of more space, mental space, physical space, spiritual space. And I think for a lot of us, that's very uncomfortable. It's kind of like the equivalent of being in a car with somebody and you're driving for a long distance and there's no one saying anything, that kind of awkward silence. And when we slow down and be still, I think sometimes we confront ourselves. We go inward within ourselves, and that can be very uncomfortable at first if you're not used to it. It's much easier to be checked out and focusing your attention on the shiny objects that are distracting you. But some of the benefits of just slowing down and being still and observing what's going on without judgment is the next step. Some of the benefits of that, just observing what's going on right now without judging it, are we start tuning into our own voice. We start tuning into our own intuition. And there's a real difference between thinking about the experience and what I would call embodying the experience in the present moment. Like if I were to slow down right now and get still, and you too, if you want to try this, and you just observe, like right now, what's going on in my physical body? Like, how does my heart feel right now? What's going on with my breath? What do I notice about just the energy and the circulation of energy around the body? How does my skin feel? right? Just to start tuning in and getting curious and not judging it or trying to figure it out. So often we jump to the conclusion again, like, the heart feels a bit sad. And then the conceptual mind wants to figure that out and go, oh, your heart's sad because this happened. But instead to just like let yourself feel that in the present moment. Go inward and be still and let yourself feel it, which is brave. But in that act of just observing, what happens is wisdom starts rising up. Instead of us trying to figure out what's going on, in fact, the intuition and our body wisdom and the space that we're creating, it informs us of what's going on and what's most truthful. And this is a practice that takes time, and it takes deliberate focus, and it takes discipline. So I'm not suggesting that you need to master anything here, but even just to experiment and explore this idea of slowing down, being still, just tuning in with curiosity to your physical body and your intuitive sense, and not trying to figure it out or judge it, just allowing it to be. This is so transformative. I think this is a really good practice as well when we have to make difficult decisions or when we're confronted with a dilemma in our lives, is to just take the time we need to not just jump in and say yes, or no, to really discern it, to find the resonance. And this is really the invitation in a mindfulness practice as well, isn't it? So that's just a little bit of inspiration to move you through this week ahead. Just start becoming aware of when are you being pulled into that crazy, noisy world that's telling you how you should be. And not to beat yourself up if you are. We're all doing it. I'm doing it. We all are. But to push the pause button for a few moments each day, to get still, to slow down, to go inward, to not judge yourself or try to figure it out, to just simply let yourself be. So in conclusion today, I'd like to take you through just a very short exercise. And hopefully you're able to do this. If you're multitasking while listening to this podcast, would you be willing to just like pause what you're doing? If you're driving your car, provided you're not in a rush to get somewhere, would you be willing to pull the car over for like 2 minutes to just try out an exercise with me? That's my challenge to you here. So regardless, I'm assuming that you're honoring this and taking a moment for space. And as you do, wherever you are, just find a moment to just slow down. Be still. And just notice your breath. Take a deep breath in through the nose and a deep breath out through the nose or mouth. One more. Breath in. Breath out. Just notice how your body is relaxing in this moment. And without judgment, without trying to figure anything out, just become an observer and notice in this moment, how is your heart? Just notice. Right now, my heart is. There's no right or wrong, just notice. How about this one? Right now, my mind is. How is your mind in this moment? Without judgment or trying to figure anything out, just notice, how is your mind? Try this one. Right now, my body is. How is your body right now? Just notice. Finally, check out this one. Right now, in this moment, how is your spirit? Right now, in this moment, my spirit is. Great. Just take a deep breath. If your eyes are closed, you can slowly open your eyelids and come back. If you're watching this as well, you can come back. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel. And just notice how you feel. Right? This is an entryway into going inwards. And you may want to spend more time in that practice and cultivate, more time each day for this. But this is just an entryway into going inward. Just notice it. Notice what you noticed, and let that be inspiration and wisdom. For example, if your heart was feeling a little bit sad, would you be willing to just go back in and allow yourself to feel that and allow the heart to tell you what it needs without trying to force or figure it out? If your body was feeling a little bit tired, could that be a moment to just honor your body and ask it what it needs, and let it speak to you? Your mind as well. If your mind's really busy, most likely it was really busy for a lot of you, just what do I need right now in this moment? Going inward is really honoring what you need and taking action towards it. But in order to know what you need, you have to go inward and create space. So that's the invitation, and I think it's really timely that we do this practice. If you're looking for more practices like this as well, I've got a whole bunch of them at my website, a bunch of meditation practices. There's also an online course on mindfulness I would invite you to check out. And if I can be of any service to you in your practice of cultivating more space, more peace, and more wisdom from within, please reach out. I'm here to serve however I can. Thanks so much for tuning in this week, everyone. I wish you a wonderful week ahead. And until next time, be well, be safe, and I look forward to you joining me on the next episode of Let's Connect. All right, well, that concludes another episode of Let's Connect, and I hope that it's inspired you as much as it has me. Thank you so much for tuning in, and remember to subscribe to both the YouTube channel and the podcast channel, and I look forward to you joining me on the next episode of Let's Connect.